8 years ago, I walked into that building right behind me and I came out a completely different person. My story begins when I was a freshman in college, far away from home. I became romantically involved with a fellow student who became increasingly abusive as time went on. At first, he was extremely possessive and managed to isolate me from family, from making any friends. About a month after we started school, he became verbally, emotionally, physically, and sexually abusive. In retrospect, I know I should have left, but at the time, you have to understand that he systematically broke down my sense of self-worth, my confidence, and my self-esteem. It's not easy to leave a man who has successfully made you believe that you can't function in the world without him, and that you have no one else but him. Shortly after Thanksgiving, I found out I was pregnant. Deep down, I was excited and happy. At that point, I knew that I was not alone. I had a life inside me. I went to him with the news, but he didn't believe me, so he made me take 2 more pregnancy tests. He immediately threatened to get custody of our child and said he would tell the court that I was crazy. I believed him because I had been suffering from depression on account of his abuse. He said they wouldn't give the baby to someone like me, and that no one would ever believe that he was abusing me because I had no proof, and he could say my bruises were from other things. He also said no one would support me. Of course he wouldn't, but I had no job. He reminded me I was failing all of my classes, and he said my parents would disown me, and that I was not good enough or strong enough to have a baby. Feeling like I had no choice, we went to an abortion clinic together, where I stalled for an hour and missed my appointment. He was furious with me, and when we got to the car, he beat my belly repeatedly to try and make me miscarry. His threats of violence got worse, saying he would push me down the stairs, perform a coat hanger abortion on me in his dorm room, and that he would kill me. During this time, he also forced me to take herbal supplements to induce a miscarriage, which only made me really sick. On Tuesday, January 17th, 2006, I walked into this clinic right here behind me. I waited until the end of the first trimester, hoping that my parents would find out about my concealed pregnancy, because I was too afraid and ashamed to tell them myself. I was completely awake for a suction and aspiration abortion, which will never leave my memory for as long as my brain can think. I will never forget those terrifying moments. However, it is too difficult for me to describe with words. Nothing I say will ever truly convey what I experienced. How do you put the worst kind of hell and pain you can imagine into words? I asked for my ultrasound, but I did not receive it until after the procedure as I was pulling up my pants. I felt extreme remorse, wishing I could take it back, but at that point, it was too late to change things. I signed the papers giving consent. I went through the procedure, and now this picture is all I have to visualize and hold my child. Abortion is a choice that cannot be undone. The next day, I returned to school, still keeping everything a secret from my family, where I was greeted by my abuser with a breakup. He got what he wanted and was off the hook. Whatever promises he made and lies he told me didn't matter now. I was left alone to suffer the consequences, and he was allowed to move on with his life. The abuse continued for a few more months, but when I finally felt like I had enough support and that I was ready to stand up for myself, I took him to court for 4th-degree assault and removed him from my life. In the years following my abortion, I suffered from depression and had considered suicide. I felt so much regret and overwhelming grief, but it felt like no one understood. How could anyone understand having regret over a decision that society says is a symbol of my empowerment as a woman? How could anyone understand mourning the loss of what society tells us is just a clump of cells? I embarked a downward self-destructive spiral. My ex was no longer there to abuse me, so I found ways to abuse myself. I was promiscuous, I drank, I continued to skip and fail classes. I hated the woman who lied on that table and allowed this horrifying thing to happen to my child and myself. I wanted to destroy her. But then something changed. I got pregnant again, and this time determined to do it the right way. I moved home, enrolled back in school, and stopped all the crazy destructive behavior. See, I chose abortion because I believed that I had no choice. I believed that I was not strong enough or capable enough to have a child. I believed that I was nothing but a worthless whore. Let me tell you, the woman who stands before you tonight now has 3 beautiful children and is graduating with her bachelor's degree in a matter of months. The woman you see is nothing like the lies and abusive, degrading comments that we women frankly hear when we face a crisis pregnancy. Not every woman experiences how I felt, but there are so many women who attribute their abortions to the lack of support that they had in their pregnancy. We are here to be their support. We are here because we believe in these women when it seems like no one else does. We're here to say you can stay in school, you can keep your job, you can get custody and make sure he pays the support you deserve. We're here to provide protection to women who are coerced and forced into the clinic behind me, to provide resources for women which will help them make an informed choice, to show them respect and compassion and encourage them to believe in themselves and their abilities. To be active in the pro-life movement goes beyond 40 days for life. Every little comment we make and attitude we convey in our daily lives collectively makes up society. And society is still telling us women to be ashamed of ourselves when we face a crisis pregnancy, and that we can't take control of anything in our lives except by having an abortion. We are being shielded from the possible consequences of abortion and discouraged from choosing otherwise. It is our job as pro-lifers to love them both, to love mother and baby. We can't be just all talk. We must be proactive and show it in our actions and attitudes, as small as they may be, that we truly do respect life in itself and those who are living. That being said, I would like to conclude on an encouraging note. Please take these 40 days to keep an open mind and be observant. We cannot help anyone unless they are receptive to what the women going into the clinic are saying. We cannot help anyone if we're here butting heads with people. Really take the time to listen to the individuals going into the clinic and seeking abortions, and adapt your approach to a way which will speak to them specifically. This is coming from a post-abortive woman. Remember, there are women going in there that are under extreme duress and are experiencing nervousness and anxiety. For some of those women, they honestly believe the same things of themselves that I falsely believed of myself. We must always treat them with respect. It is easy to become emotionally charged in front of the clinic because we know what happens in there. But I challenge you to take this opportunity to learn something from those we are trying to reach out to. We must accept that we can't reach out to everyone. Sometimes, like those times, it is not about them learning from us, but instead it is about us learning from them. Learning how they feel, why they are here, why they believe the things they believe of themselves, and why they believe that abortion is the only choice for them. Believing we have to choose abortion is like a disease. And like a disease, we must really study it. Study how the disease is transmitted. Who is more susceptible to the disease, and under what conditions the disease is generated in order to find the cure. Let's take these 40 days for life to participate in the cure. Let's work together and with women to eradicate the idea of abortion altogether. So one day we won't have a need for 40 days for life. Thank you.
Thank you.